You're listening to For Better and Worse with Jess and Rach. Hello.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang.
TTP is in the house, you guys.
All three of us.
All three.
We have referenced Madison.
Countless.
Countless.
Every episode? I would like to find an episode where I don't talk about Madison.
You talk about me a lot.
There's probably not one. And she's hopped on one other time.
Yeah, with a clean shirt.
Yes. And this is a crisp.
I am crisp.
Button down, unbuttoned.
She's looking fresh. She's looking fly.
Keep my pants are too tight, so.
Oh,
you know.
Well, let it fly.
Madison, everybody. Welcome in, Mads.
And I did want to say and point out, Madison is drinking from a vase.
Is it a vase? This is not a vase.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Look at the bottom. And my grandma got me flowers, had them delivered.
Okay, well, it looks like a whiskey glass, and I'm drinking vodka lemonade.
Wait, I would have thought the same thing. Un vas.
Un Voss
Yeah.
is now drinking Voss.
A nice thick bottom gal.
No.
That's you, Rach.
That's Matt's too. Matt's ass is, hey.
I did not know that I had an ass until just recently.
Yeah.
You'd learn to embrace it. Joe's been
don't know
making
where
some
it came
flat
from.
ass jokes, and they're going a little too far. I forget. I can't remember the exact joke. Oh, just because I rip on him for everything. Like you can censor this. Any like small dick references just to make him humble. That's
Yeah,
not the
I
case.
get
But
it.
I'm just saying,
get
like,
it.
I always am just ripping on him. And he was like, fine. Like, how do you like it? You're as flat as a board or something. And I was like,
Did you say,
Bruh.
I actually have a flat ass? It's not funny.
oh, no, it's 100% my biggest insecurity. So it's like, I never want to have dumpy butt in my pants. You know?
No.
Droopy butt.
We never-
Droopy,
we don't have a
saggy.
Droopy butt.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like when the pants don't fit your butt, like I run into that issue.
Oh.
So like you get a little saggy diaper
Call
booty.
it soggy bottom.
Soggy bottom.
Eric gets a soggy bottom. I'll be like, pull up your pants.
Yeah,
dude.
I don't want. I do sometimes from time to time probably get soggy bottom, but yeah, Joe's been really.
Sog bottom girl.
And I would look at him like that really hurts my feelings, and then of course he's like, "Sorry, babe." I'm like, I'm like, oh.
But you would.
But secretly, I'm just like, "Fuck off, bro."
Yeah.
And now I'm lifting weights to get a butt. So
Good luck.
thanks.
Literally what happened to me, and I don't know if that's what happened to you, but I gained 40 pounds in like 3 months because I went on a medicine my senior year of high school because I had a flat ass. There is a
No, you didn't.
there's a genetic code in my family called the Kleckner flat ass. You can ask anyone. It's a genetic code, Kleckner flat
Excuse
ass.
me, what?
And I had it. And then I gained all this weight and literally like 40 pounds in 3 months. But then I went off the medicine and I just like got back into like my normal thing. But the ass stayed. The ass stayed.
But nobody really
just-
gets that gift.
so
I just distributed like this recently.
yeah.
Like I had Eric and I was too thin. I
Yeah,
looked
you were unwell.
disgusting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Not good. And then all of a sudden it's like,
It's
boom.
it's juiced.
It's just
Well, I'm hoping to get a dump truck in the near future, but until then,
go through
I'm
a nice,
flat ass
here's the thing.
McGee. I'm
It's
flat ass McGee.
You got to go through a depression, anxiety episode, lose some weight,
Check,
gain it
check,
back,
check,
Yeah.
check. I mean,
filter it.
my resume
Filter
is solid on this end. So where's my ass?
Where's my ass?
I don't know. We'll order some Pizza Hut for you.
No, Papa
That's true,
John's.
though.
Is that what we said?
Jess
We know
actually
my
likes
love
Pizza
for
Hut
Pizza
pizza.
Hut.
I hate Pizza Hut. It's disgusting.
What do you
You know
mean?
when
I
you
mean-
no stop. You know when you can taste the smell.
So true.
And
I want that.
It tastes like a cow farm.
I don't.
Excuse me. Okay, I can
Never
say,
been.
I
Sauce,
can
the
get
red
down.
sauce tastes like
People say cardboard. It kind of tastes like
Fair.
cardboard.
Greasy
No.
cardboard though.
ugh.
Sounds great. I'll
Okay.
have two.
No. My sister has the same thing. My sister and me are on the same page. Like when you eat Pizza Hut, maybe even Papa John's. I don't know. The red sauce tastes like the way that a cow farm smells.
But also Pizza Hut will always smell like smoking sections to me.
Oh,
Remember?
because
Yeah.
Smoking or non. Smoking or non, the 90s were
Do you
a
remember when you used to
wild
go
time.
I
into-
don't know.
Pizza Hut and actually eat. Like
Yes.
it was
As
a
a-
buffet.
I think a lot of people in their childhood did because I feel like those were a big fundraiser for schools.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, definitely.
Hubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fundraiser hubs.
Hubs.
And that's where my love for it started. But it's also they had like a bomb ass buffet.
Yeah.
I'll
They had a
fuck
good
around.
salad. I like a good. I
Any
like a
pizza
good
lovers
mixed
out there?
salad.
Oh yeah. And then
I'll go with you.
when Ruby Tuesdays came to town.
No,
I've never
Ponderosa.
eaten there.
Ponderosa.
I've never eaten at either of those places.
Well,
I've never eaten Ruby Tuesdays.
You're not
Well,
really missing out much, but I think Ponderosa
the salad bar,
fell.
yeah, they fell hard.
Yeah,
I
they're
think because,
done.
I think because salads got better.
That's
think-
the only, just iceberg only.
Yeah,
That's my favorite. They're called
Cold
crunchies.
ham, cold egg.
Yeah.
Some,
yeah.
some like
cottage cheese on my salad.
Okay,
You're
by
an
the
animal
way,
for that.
I opened Rachel's fridge yesterday and she had cottage cheese, like little containers in there. And I like stared at it for a second and I was like, I don't know how you're eating that. What are you
Cottage
eating
cheese
that
is
with?
fire
Wow.
flame.
What?
Cottage cheese.
Yeah.
By itself.
It
But
freaks me
it's so
out.
hard, Jess, to find the large curd these days.
You need large curd. You
Large
really
curd.
need that on your mouth. the
I
top of
feel
your
like I'm
mouth.
traumatized by cottage cheese.
From what?
I don't know. I feel like it was one of those things I was forced to eat as a kid that I was like, don't even bring it near me.
Oh, I fuck with some cottage cheese.
Like
hard.
I think
I
like
go in and out.
I
because
like it with peaches.
I like it by itself. Some people say
Ugh.
they like it with
Fruit.
pepper.
I saw someone on the internet like whip up their cottage cheese as a dip.
Okay, that might be good. It's the
But something
texture.
about me likes those lumps.
I do too, but
I don't like the lumps.
I don't know. Do with that what you will.
Do with that what you will. Yeah,
I saw
absolutely.
It. I saw it.
But
It looked good.
it's a lot of dairy too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I
That's
feel
a
like
that's
my-
a COVID ruiner for me though. That
Oh.
all my dairy is just screwed.
is a pooper-trader.
Perpetrator.
Mine smells like we're gonna go on it again. When you smell a taste,
Yeah,
when I can taste the smell.
but doesn't your poop smell different now?
no,
Oh god.
what
Damn.
does yours?
Yes, my poop smells different.
Your poop smells.
And your-
the
and your food.
smells like the poop smell, but the poop smell isn't like actual poop anymore.
Okay,
It's
no.
rotting flesh, maybe?
Ew, there's a word. What's the word?
Parosmia or
Parosmia?
Yeah.
parasomia or
Parasomia? No, that's not right. Parosmia.
Yeah,
Nope,
I
don't
think
know.
the way we think it sounds is not like
Oh,
One of those
no.
words.
And that's not. I'm not experiencing that. Mine's like sour cream, cream cheese. Like any of my dairy is like.
this. Look at how I'm looking at
I was about to say, like,
Leaning
excuse
in.
me. No,
in.
it's terrible. It tastes like when you open a pool float, that plastic smell.
I
That's
love
what
that.
it tastes like.
No,
I want my whole house to smell like that.
some people do talk about the chemical smell, but that's not mine.
That's mine. That's what it is. I don't. My poop smells like poop.
Hey.
I feel like pool floats smell like inflatables, and if you lived through the 90s, you knew every piece of furniture was inflatable.
I think I like it. I just don't want to taste it.
I was talking.
I don't want to eat it.
I forget who I was talking to my mom, but I forget why we were talking about this. Do you remember having to put on fucking water wings and the trauma
of the
that-
burn.
Oh, my mom would just be like,
Yeah, on dry arms.
I was not a water wings girl. I was just head first in the water.
That sounds on
Pete
brand
Sharp-
for
Pete Sharp
Madison.
threw me in.
Absolutely.
my water
Swam.
wings were that color, pink, hot pink, and I just would cry. I'd just be like,
They're not the best flotation device. They've
No.
definitely
now babies have
advanced.
like the flotation, like it's a all in one.
It's like
it's
a
like a
vest.
leotard.
yes, it's like a vest, but they have little wings on them.
Well, you're not
But
supposed
they're-
to use them.
I was like,
All we could do is just like
False
our
security.
heaviest part is sinking us under, and we're just floating by our arms up to our cheeks. If you really think
No.
about that, it wasn't very nice.
False security.
And then you
you're not
expect us-
supposed to use them.
You expect us to learn how to swim? Like we can't move
Yeah.
our fucking arms. How are we supposed
I
to
know.
backstroke?
I know, but on the it
No.
hurt so bad.
You just rip them off.
Yeah, and we were swimmers because Mads and I lived in the same neighborhood. For those of you who don't know, Madison and I have been friends for over 20 years.
Ugh.
But we lived in a neighborhood called Twin Lakes.
Twin Lakes.
It sounds fancier than it was, but we
It's
had
kinda
like
fancy.
I
It was a
mean
little
there was
fancy.
a
A little
there was a
bougie.
co-op or whatever. What is this? An
A co-op?
association.
You
Well,
had to
we
pay
private,
fees.
yeah, private fees, yeah, yeah, for a private lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were swimmers. I wasn't an actual. She was a real swimmer.
I actually like thinking back though, like nothing creeps me out more than lakes. And
Oof.
I can't believe I was in that lake. I was over
I
there
know.
not too long ago, just like with Eric on the dock. And I
Yeah.
was like, you wouldn't pay me enough money to jump in that fucking thing.
I don't
I know.
believe that.
Nope.
From you.
Me?
Yeah,
I have to be
feel
drunk.
like
you
would
get me
be-
drunk and I'll jump in anything.
I feel like you would go head first and go to the bottom and pull up some
No,
cool rocks
no.
and tell me about them.
So once I jumped in at Twin Lakes, I jumped off the thing and up into my knees went into like the mud and I almost got stuck and I was like, I'm going to drown and die here today. And I think that's the
So
last time
quicksand.
I was like, no, thank you.
You had a real life run-in with quicksand.
I would like to not ever experience that again.
Yeah,
I'm scared of water. I'm a great swimmer and I was a lifeguard, but I'm scared of water. Don't ask me to go whitewater rafting. Don't you put me in the ocean.
Yeah, I was a lifeguard, but I'm going to tell you this honestly. I couldn't have saved a life. And I knew that for a fact. I could have saved a child, but
Not
the
an
fact that I
adult.
was supposed to save adults, I was not that strong. There needed to be better tests.
Why are adults drowning? That's my question.
Eh?
That's another thing.
Hey.
I can see
I
why
would like
kids
to hear
drown.
the stats on how many people drown
Well, I feel like
or how many rescues there are.
a lot. I think I don't know in like Stillwater lakes. I think a lot of adult drowning
Lakes were the
happen in
worst
oceans,
though, because the kids would go under and you lose them. They're gone.
yeah,
It was
they're
like
gone.
black. I worked at Woodside Lake Park.
Don't know if you can drop that name, but we're doing it.
I'm dropping it.
Okay.
It was good,
Would've.
but they had. Is it illegal?
They could sue you.
They're not going to sue me. It was great.
We're very popular.
Very popular.
Very
Well, you
popular.
know how the
It was
lifeguards
good.
do the
Yes.
Yeah.
up down, the searching. What do you
Oh
call
yeah,
it?
but if you're over here, kid goes down.
They
But
had
you have to-
daycares come to
No.
swim.
No,
3
I think
times
you'll
a
see
week.
the struggle. They don't just get sunken down. Like there's some type of splashing
No.
going on.
No, absolutely not.
I don't think people get dragged down by the Loch
They
Ness monster
don't.
and never come back up. There's some type of like, whoop, help me situation.
But if you're
It's no.
if you're there was at the lake that I used to work at, there was like a free day situation, and there would literally be people like lined, like they weren't swimming, they were standing in water,
Ugh.
which is like if aliens came down and witnessed that, must have got a good laugh because they're just people just standing in water. What the fuck? But I literally thought like, there's nothing I can do at this point.
No.
Godspeed. I hope
We had-
all the hundreds of people would save each other.
Ugh, no. We had like preschools or daycares come 3 times a week, and it was just like a bunch of little kids who shouldn't be swimming.
Shouldn't be swimming.
And it's like fine. They have like the levels,
Yeah.
like the sand and everything. It was fine. I was just like the level of anxiety that I had was
Right.
too
Well,
much.
because like when you bring your kid, or if like a kid has a parent, it's like at least like that you think their parent is watching them. If you have a daycare, it's like there's
No.
4 adults for 20
kids.
Mm-mm.
No,
Nah.
I did like that
Doesn't
job
add
though.
up.
That was a fun job. It's a good one. Got half my leg was always tan.
Very good.
Mhm.
Very good.
It's the most uneven tan I've ever had in my life. It's crisscross.
Very good. Well, Mads, thanks for coming on, girl.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Um,
I didn't know about this until yesterday when Rach goes. I don't know if I said this to you or to Jess. And I was like, what? She goes, oh, that I want you on the podcast tomorrow. And I said, nope, didn't say it to me. But thanks. Here
Hey.
I am.
what else you got to do? Okay.
Nothing on a, what is it? A Wednesday?
Yeah, nothing on a Wednesday.
Nothing on a Wednesday.
Yeah. I wanted Mads to come on. Well, in general, because I talk about her all the time. And it's funny because when I was asking you, I was like, what would you like come on to talk about? I was like, because you've got a lot of shit going on.
But
and
I'm not there to talk. I can't.
Yeah.
We're in the, which of course we can talk about being in the middle of it, but
yeah.
I would like some like ends.
Yeah.
I need some good ends.
Something
Yeah.
like to
I need
see
some-
it through and
yeah.
for you
I
to
need
come.
some- well, we're getting there, I
Yeah.
think. But
Well, you said you were like, because I'm the kind of person that like, I like to tie up all the loose ends. I like to have a perspective shift. I like to like feel like, we've gotten through it. But you said you're like, I feel like a lot of people could relate, Rachel, to just being in the middle of a hard thing.
yeah, like what do you do when like you're stuck? Which we can, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into
100%.
it.
We'll definitely get into it. We've got lots of things to talk about, but today
You were
We
drinking
are
from
here.
a vase
I'm drinking from a vase, and we're here to talk about.
to talk about me and my shit. Because guys,
It's been a week, my friend.
it's been 2
weeks.
and a half
It's been 2.5 weeks.
crazy weeks for me. And I know a lot of you guys follow me on Instagram, so this probably isn't coming as a shock to all of you, but I was pregnant. I found out I was pregnant 2.5 weeks ago on Easter. And I am no longer pregnant because we found out literally a week to the day after we found out that it was ectopic, which means that your fetus is forming in your fallopian tube, not your uterus, which is not good. And basically there's nothing that can be done. And so I went in for abdominal pain on my left side and bleeding. And we went in at like 9 p.m. after like all day of like being in a pretty bad way. calling Madison many times.
It just got over the course. It just transpired. I mean, it started pretty smooth and turned.
Yeah. So called Madison many times, and then we decided to finally go. And literally within a few hours, I was in emergency surgery. My fallopian tube had started to rupture and was causing internal bleeding. And I'm down one fallopian tube, but not out. The game.
Not out the game.
Not at the game. Could have been.
Ooh.
So kind of talking through that whole thing. All of this now makes sense. What?
Nothing. She just.
I'm sorry. My hair got stuck to it.
No, it's fine. She's new.
I'm new. I didn't know this had to be this close to my mouth.
Yeah, it does. It truly does. You have to be right up in it. But
carry on.
Yeah. So the reason why I've been so emotional lately, there were so many things when, not last week because I wasn't on, the week before that is when I told Jess that I was pregnant. And I told her after that, we ended the episode, it was why I was acting really funny and weird. And she was like, why are you staring at me? And I was like, because I got a pregnancy test right over here. I got to tell you something big. And it was everything finally made sense of why I had been so emotional. And it's just crazy now looking back and be like, you're dumb. Your period was 2 weeks late. And you were just like, la-di-da-di-da. My period's weird.
You did. You had it 3 times. You're like, I need to start my period. Something's wrong with me. I'm like, yeah.
I'm like, it's just psyching me out. But granted, all that to say, it was the hardest thing that I've probably ever been through. Definitely with Josh, it's been terrible. There's no really good way to say it. And I think the hard part about ectopic pregnancies and any pregnancy that is a risk to the mother's life is you don't get a choice, right? So it's there's nothing I could do. There was no options. Obviously, the option was you need to live to see tomorrow, so you have to get this taken care of. And I feel like this episode is coming out at a very interesting time with Roe versus Wade being overturned. And
we have lots to say about that.
We have a lot to say about that. Mm-hmm. Josh did just text me and said, so you would have died in Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
No shot.
Yeah, because this is what's fucking happening when the government gets involved in policing bodies, when they have no fucking idea what they're talking about and what they're doing. Thank God this happened to me now, because in June, when Roe v. Wade gets overturned, Ohio will have probably some of the strictest abortion laws ever. So
it's terrifying.
It's terrifying. What's especially terrifying is I am now 1 in 5 chance of having another ectopic pregnancy. Your chances before, it's 1 in 50. And so now the chance of me having another ectopic pregnancy is 1 in 5. It's very, very common for women to have multiple ectopic pregnancies. With some of these abortion laws, I'm pretty sure methotrexate, which is used to non-invasively remove the fetus. I was past that point. I think some of those medications will be illegal. So in order for me to be treated for ectopic pregnancies, my last fallopian tube will have to rupture, and I will have to eternally bleed, and they will have to save my life. And I think that's the only way that I will be able to get treated.
Wow. And then there's other situations which is if you didn't know either, which of course you wouldn't, I had an ectopic pregnancy as well.
That's why I was calling her. I was like, what did it feel like?
Yeah. So I had an ectopic pregnancy when I was 19.
Yeah.
Complete, I was on birth control, complete, out left corner.
Pregnant.
I had no idea. It was one of the weirdest experiences. I'm not kind of go into more detail about that, but same thing. I actually went the methotrexate route, which is non-invasive. It was the medication. They caught it just in time. But now, just like Rachel, I'm higher risk because I have scar tissue in my fallopian tube, and it's the same, kind of the same thing. And then I had a miscarriage. I've had 2 miscarriages, and the miscarriage that I had before Eric was something called a missed miscarriage, which means that your body doesn't recognize that the baby is not alive.
Yeah.
Which means that your body can go months and hold on to that, and you can get a terrible infection.
Sepsis.
Sepsis. You can get you're basically pregnant and you have no idea that it's not alive.
But there's a decaying there's some
decaying
body inside
fetus or whatever it is at that point inside of your body. And I had to take what is known as like commonly the abortion pill. It's the it's whatever medication that is to
remove
the fetus. And if that gets overturned, that is not an option. You have to prove that the baby is not alive, and you have to prove that, well, basically you have to wait for your body to do it on itself, and that can kill you.
Yeah.
It's another one of those situations where that saved my life twice. Had that not happened, I wouldn't have Eric. It's insane.
So we literally can't even talk about, I feel like I can't talk about what happened to me without talking about what's happening in the world, because it is scary. It definitely probably will definitely change how Josh and I think about getting pregnant again, especially with whatever laws in Ohio. Like, truly, if we don't feel safe, we will probably have to move. Like, if I feel like I can't. Also, like, the women being questioned for their miscarriages, all of these things of like the policing of people with uteruses. We don't need to say women. I'm sorry. People with uteruses. Is outrageous. And very upsetting.
It's terrifying
amongst an already fucking upsetting thing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's like, can you imagine going through a miscarriage and then being questioned about that miscarriage as if you had something to do with it? And everybody has different experiences, but like some miscarriages are, you grieve, that's a loss. It's completely, earth shattering for people, especially people who are actively trying over and over again and experience this, like, to be questioned every time as if like there's something wrong with you, or to make that a reality is just, it's disgusting. And I can't believe we're here and we're talking about this again.
I know.
It's fucked up. It feels like we just like went back in time.
Truly. Surprise, surprise, everyone.
We're back -1.
We're back -1 because tragedy struck. For the first time, which is honestly impressive. But when I opened up our project in GarageBand to edit it, half of the files were missing. So that would have been a really weird episode to listen to, because it was like half of the middle was missing. Then only my mic was saved. And then so it would have been bad to listen to. So lucky for all of you, me and Madison see each other every single moment of the day. So
yeah, and we function.
We function.
We function.
So
or lack thereof.
She was on her way to my house to help me work, and I said, "You just head to the studio, sister, because we have to re-record the episode where we talk about our deepest traumas,
deepest traumas, and we have to talk about those again casually.
Hey,
we walked in today and it was like, I don't want to do this again. My chest hurt yesterday. I left here. I said, "Oh, that's enough of that."
And here we are again for the ride of our lives. I believe we left off. Goodbye, Jess. We miss you.
Jess.
I'm sure everyone.
Yesterday I had a clean shirt. I looked like a human.
Oh my God, your hair was down.
My hair was down. Today I'm wearing a shirt that I have spilled coffee on twice. It's just there for our YouTubers. Real.
And I'm wearing a newly subscription original jumpsuit.
I like that.
And actually put makeup on because I found out I didn't cry at all yesterday. Because we're back to normal, baby. We don't got those pregnancy hormones ripping through my veins anymore. We are back to stoic, back to the quarterly crier, back
to the once a month, a month moment.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Maybe we'll cry today. And
maybe who knows?
We'll cry. I can't talk about Eric, so.
We can. Maybe.
No, I'm saying I can't. If I talk about Eric, it's game over. Tears flow. That's it. That's the only thing that gets me.
And let's talk about Eric for a moment, just because he is our favorite human on the face of the earth.
Eric James.
4 years old almost.
Before in what, 2 weekends? 2 weeks?
Yes. 2 weeks. And he is so excited about his party. Probably my fault because I've bigged it up.
Oh, he's stoked.
Oh, so Madison dropped him off at my house a couple days ago because she had to go work and she had to shoot, and he was very upset to be at my house, which is strange, but he's going through it. You know, he's 4. He gets to decide when he wants to cry.
He was real bummed that he couldn't go to the yoga studio with me because he goes sometimes and gets to play in the kids' room. So I think he was like, I'll go with you there.
Yeah. Well, when he was there, he's like, I wish my mom was here. And I'm like, ew.
Welcome to a new level of separation.
But
anxiety.
I try to respect it. I do. I'm like, what can I do?
Rachel said to me yesterday, I just love this crying stage. It's so cute.
I
said,
but he's
your
crying
pardon?
about cute things. I don't like whining.
Ugh.
But like the other day, he was at my house and there's like a new like kid next door that gets babysat sometimes.
Which we have to go back a second. Eric has been in preschool for 1 year now. And I know he's doing better socially and stuff like that because he's an only child and, COVID baby. So to watch him interact like that, me and Rachel were just drinking our vodka lemonades, cracking up. He walks up to this kid and goes, "Hi, these are my dogs. My Aunt Rachel's inside. This is my mom. My name is Eric, and I'm really strong. Would you like to watch me flip this rock?" And he goes, "I'm going to flip this rock." And that kid goes, "Wow, you are really strong." He goes, "Cool. You're strong too. Now you flip a rock." Just like, oh, kids are bizarre. It was so funny.
But my favorite thing about Eric has the best lines of all time. He's funny and he's smart. And I mean, he's lived many past lives.
He's old.
He is old. That kid's old. But
old soul.
We told the story at the end, but we'll tell it in the middle. After my surgery, we're like really open with Eric. We like tell him everything just because like what's the point? But my sister came into town and I had to drop something off at Madison, so we go there and I'm like getting ready to leave and I'm like, "Eric, bud," to which he always says, "I'm not Bud, I'm Eric, but he's my bud." And I'm like, "Can I give you kisses, please? Can I kiss you on the cheek? Because I'm really sad." And he's like, "No, and why?"
No, you may not,
No, you
but
may
also what's your problem?
Yeah, and Madison was like, "Come on, Eric, she lost her fallopian tube. Have a heart." And he was just like, still said no.
She said, "Fine, pick your goodbye, fist bump, high five, whatever it is you do." So he picked, I think, a fist bump or whatever,
right.
And then just goes on his way. We're in the car the next day, and I said something about Rachel just in passing, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, Mom," and I said, "What?" He goes, "What the hell is a fallopian tube?"
I'll never not laugh about that.
He says, "An fallopian tube." He said, "What the hell is an fallopian tube?" I said, "I don't know, Eric. If you have one, you have one. If you don't, you don't." I said, "I'll draw it for you later."
But he hasn't checked back in on that.
No, he has not, actually. I should revisit that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get a tattoo of my whole uterus. So
trying to explain things like he's in the why stage.
Yeah.
He's in the give me all the details because I don't understand stage. So I was like, I'll circle back to that and give you a nice little drawing.
Yeah, well, I'm getting a drawing on my body of it because, what better way to memorialize your trauma than tattoo it on your body forever?
I love it.
But I did say, would be a shame if I lose my other fallopian tube. Because then the diagram will be wrong.
Just exit out.
Yeah, just exit. Hey, no, Control Alt Delete. That we're gone. We're gone.
Your little. What did you say yesterday? You called it a missing a slide. What did you say?
Yeah. Yeah. So because I think at the beginning of the episode. Sorry guys, this is rough.
We're strong. I can already hear it. We know what we want to talk about. We had some good things yesterday, and this is going to be. Yeah, bear with us as we sound unamused to be revisiting.
But yeah, so I kind of bring you through what happened, but then I go into like the details of how we got to where we were. And so basically, Sunday. Not this past Sunday, it's Sunday before. Yeah. I woke up, everything was normal. A couple hours later go by, I go to the bathroom and I was experiencing some bleeding. To which I tried not to panic and hit the panic button, but of course, first person I text is Jerry, from Ladies and Tangents. You already know that. But I am like, "Hey, can I send you a graphic image?" Which I always I like to warn people. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "Yes." Because Jerry has had her fair share of, birth, miscarriage, lots of traumas there. So she's just always the person I go to ask for those things, or, not always, I guess, 2 weeks of my life. But she was just like, yeah, that doesn't look too concerning, but like call your nurse line. So call my nurse line. I wasn't in any excruciating pain at that time. So I was like, okay, cool. She like bumped up my appointment by like a week and a half, because guys, did you know when you get pregnant, they are not in a rush. The hospitals,
no, they're like, you're pregnant,
care.
see you in 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, you're pregnant, great, see you soon in a month. And I'm like, I literally said on the phone, like, I think I'd just like to get in soon. I don't trust the drugstore tests. I don't know. I need a doctor to tell me I'm pregnant. This is so weird. What if I'm making it up? What if
there's just so many like crazy things in the first couple weeks that are just so specific to everybody, and it's so hard to navigate that. Like some people, which is why we say try not to Google, my friends. Yeah. Google is your worst enemy.
But
everybody
best be sure I was Googling.
Oh, you were Googling. Half the people bleed. Some people bleed their entire pregnancy. Sometimes
some people
it's
cramp.
Normal.
Some people
Sometimes
don't cramp.
It doesn't. So it's very hard to get any type of closure there. So I think getting into the doctors and being able to see it and make sure everything's fine and make sure it's in the right fucking place.
The right place is crucial. So they move on my appointment, and then literally a couple hours after that, I start getting some of the worst cramps of my life. And I'm talking like dizzy, can't stand up. Like I've had bad menstrual cramps probably twice like that. I remember once specifically, I was working at a pharmacy and I was like, I have to go. I have to lay down. I'm going to pass out or puke. So it felt a lot like that, to which I got scared at that point. I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm miscarrying, but like this isn't the experience that a lot of people that miscarry are having. So I was just like, I end up taking some ibuprofen, which you're not supposed to do if you're pregnant, but I did anyway because I was like, I didn't know I was pregnant for 7 weeks. I was pregnant for 7 weeks and I didn't know, and I was taking ibuprofen, and I just said, what's one more time? Okay, I gotta. I can't feel like this. It freaking
hurts. Yeah, like excuse me.
I wake up from that nap and I feel better. I take the dogs for a walk. I get back in. Josh and I just have a chill night because we're both scared. Like we're both already very attached, very in love, very excited. And so of course you don't want to lose something that you've been looking forward to. Even if we were only looking forward to it for 1 week, like it didn't take long for us to like go all in. And I can talk a little bit more about that later, but, a couple hours pass again and I start getting worse pain, more like directed shooting pain in my left side. That's like even like going up through my vagina. And I was like, I'm not comfortable with this, I call in bed with Josh and I'm just sobbing, just absolutely sobbing. And I'm like, we need to call Madison, because I knew what an ectopic pregnancy was. I knew that they can happen, and I knew that my best friend had one before.
Yes, I had one when we'll get into my story in a minute. But I had one
actually
when
in the beginning. We did talk about, so we got into your ectopic.
Oh,
they know you had one.
Yep, I had an ectopic pregnancy. So way younger, completely different time, completely different state. But
I also maybe I did tell this whole story. I don't know.
We're gonna piece it together.
This is gonna be fun to edit.
Rach.
But you sounded concerned, but also we had to keep in mind about the fact that my insurance sucks. And so if I didn't have to go to the emergency room, I didn't want to. But then it just got to this point of like, had I not had shitty insurance, I would have been there hours ago. And I just said like, I truly felt like my life was in danger. It just was a gut feeling. I was listening to my body. And after talking to the nurses line again, they were like, get your ass to the hospital. And that's what we did. And the emergency room experience was surprisingly good. I've been to the emergency room with loved ones before. And so I kind of knew the system in that I didn't want to go to Akron City because I knew it would be busier and I knew I would have to wait longer. And so when I was on the phone with the nurses line, I was like, what hospitals around me have what like the services I need.
Mhm.
And Barberton was one of those options. So I went to Barberton because it's not, you know, a main city. So thank God I went there. You know, I only waited for like 30, 40 minutes in the waiting room, and then they let me back. And it was weird vibes. There was a psych patient who was on drugs, maybe not on drugs, that was really bringing the vibes to the whole ER floor. So Josh and I had a little comedic relief, but yeah, I mean, it's scary. They come in, they take your blood, they make you pee, you do all the things. One of the nurses, very, very weird, took my blood, and he's like looking at me, and he's like, "Oh, you pregnant girls have the best veins." And I was like, I think I'm just pale. I don't know what. Like, what? Don't get turned on by my veins, please. I'm going through enough, sir. I'm going through enough. Then they wheel me to get my intravaginal ultrasound, and you know, let me cut to the chase. Get back into the hospital room. You know, you wait. And the doctor comes in, and he says, "I've got good news and bad news. Good news is you're not having a miscarriage. Bad news is it is ectopic, and you will be in emergency surgery in an hour."
What a way to deliver that information.
I was like, I didn't really process what he had said till he left. And Josh and I are like sobbing in each other's arms because we're terrified and sad, and we're losing our pregnancy. And, you know, I have to go in emergency surgery, and it is a lot to take in. And I eventually like peel myself away from Josh. I said, "Did he say good news, bad news? What was the good news again?" And I was like, that was inappropriate and weird, but I don't know. We were kind of joking with this guy, so maybe he thought, you know, hey, a little pregnancy loss joke doesn't hurt anybody. And yeah, to be fair, didn't.
Dark humor.
It's, you know, dark humor. But it was the right decision. Madison and we talked about this, but like there are 2 treatment options for ectopic pregnancy. One is methotrexate, which she was able to take.
I did the methotrexate method.
Yep.
She did the removal of the fallopian tube.
Well, yeah, surgery. Sometimes they don't have to remove your tube. Sometimes they don't even have to remove your whole tube. There's options, but it's a good thing I went into surgery because I had already started internally bleeding. It had already started to tear, which explains all the pain. So, I'm down a fallopian tube, and the fallopian tube is basically the slide that takes the egg to your uterus. And we did go into detail about how this happens. I don't know if this is interesting to people, but it doesn't happen for any reason whatsoever.
No, there's no reason. There's no cause, which is a weird borderline between, okay, good, there's nothing wrong with me, but also, what the hell? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. And that's kind of how, you know, it's just like you feel like your body just completely betrays you. Like I'm a person with a uterus. I'm a woman. I've been made for this, you know, like this is exactly what my body is supposed to be doing. You get fed all this bullshit. And then it's like, oh, my body didn't do the right thing. My body did something that's very abnormal. That's, you know, not likely to happen, but it did. And I'm like, that sucks. And then when you get to hear, not only, you know, were you a minority in pregnancy, but you are now 1 in 5 likely to have it happen again. And it's just like your world just like completely shifts, right? Because I think I'm never the type of person that thinks nothing bad is going to happen to me. Mm-hmm. You know, like I'm very much accepted that like we could miscarry, and those were thoughts that we had from the jump. Both Josh and I, or Josh more so than me, we are kind of like, hey, anything could happen. But I decided early, like as soon as the day after I found out and I had accepted it, I was like, I'm going to be happy and excited and positive, because if we lose this pregnancy, it's not going to make it hurt any less.
Yes.
Like me deciding to be like, it's just a defense mechanism, and I'm still going to be crushed
Yeah,
so
which is we have the opposite defense mechanisms where I am premeditating bad things happening in ways to prepare myself,
which is what Josh
things
does.
happening. But that's the thing. You can prepare for, in your head, you could go, of course, there's a chance I could lose this pregnancy. Lots of people, which is the really sad and frustrating thing, is so many women just casually have a miscarriage.
Right.
It's so normal at the beginning of trying to conceive. So many people, I mean, the amount of people that I had no idea have had miscarriages have just been like, oh, me too. And it's like, this happens across the board. And I don't think anybody knows what that's like or can prepare for it until it happens, and you don't know the impact of it until you experience it. And I think it's a really hard, I mean, it is, of course, it's a hard thing to navigate, but knowing that it's a possibility, but still, you know, going, I'm choosing to be happy, I'm choosing to get there and just accept that this is something that's good, and then something like that happens. You immediately go into, my body has failed. Yeah. My body has failed. What the hell? Mm-hmm. And me and Rachel have talked about this like a couple days ago, talking about like the different reactions to pregnancy loss based on like your situations. And I think like talking about the way that you handle them and the way that you perceive them based on where you are in life, and all that is just so unique to everybody's situation and experience. And it's just,
I mean, I think it is really interesting because like my mom had a miscarriage between me and Laura, and that was always just like something she just like breezed by, right? And so as a child, I heard, you know, that had been part of like, you know, something I knew about my mom, that she had a miscarriage, but it was always the like, but if I hadn't, you wouldn't be here. So everything is meant to be. And, you know, those are the lies that we tell ourselves to make us feel better about our trauma or to rationalize our trauma. And if that works for you, great. But when I was going through this, when I was like cramping and when I was bleeding, my mom was honestly, like she was crying every single phone call I had with her, because I think it just threw her back 30 years. And she remembered her pain. She remembered how real it was. She remembered how traumatic it was. She remembered, versus like, of course, when you have a healthy baby and you're on the other side of it, you can say like, okay, like,
yeah, I can attest to that.
Everything worked out. But the pain that my mom felt in those moments when she was miscarrying came back to her in a way that like I could tell she couldn't stand to watch me walk that same road. She really couldn't. It was really traumatic. And I hadn't even told my dad yet that I was pregnant, because I was really going to wait until we had the ultrasound photo just to like make it more real for me. And he gets really anxious and worked up, and I didn't want to like go down that road if I didn't need to. And so I'm literally like in the hospital bed waiting to go into surgery, and I'm like, it's not right. I have to tell
my dad that I'm about to
it's
go
1 in the
under.
morning, but he has to know, like, you know, one of his only children is getting emergency surgery, and he should know. So I just send him. I drafted a text in my notes, as I always do, and I
sorry to break it to you like, this way.
Yeah. Hey, I was like, hey, this was the intro line to everyone that I texted. Hey, I know this is a lot to wake up to, but
about to go into emergency surgery.
Yeah. Josh,
by the way, I'm pregnant. By the way,
yeah,
it's ectopic. Talk to you on the other side.
But my mom had said that like my dad back then was like shocked, like because they had already had Laura, and he was like, it is this like, no matter what, it's just like this, what the hell? Like, even if you're prepared for it, even if you know the odds, even if you like, it's devastating. Like, it is devastating to lose a pregnancy that you really want. And I don't think any statistics make it less crushing.
No, and that's that's the hard, like, that's the hard part that we talk about too. That's like, even if you are mentally someone who can say, which I was someone like that, maybe had that mindset. I really did. When I had my miscarriage, I had an ectopic pregnancy, and then I've had 2 miscarriages. The one miscarriage, I very much had a interesting mindset. I was someone who felt very like, this is out of my control. This, your body, you got to trust your body. I remember feeling that really intensely and having that mindset, and then going, into a place where I very much felt at peace with it in my head. And then my hormones, like the crash of like my actual hormones and the crash of my body, and then what my body experienced was so hard for me to navigate, because I'm trying to have this, and maybe that's my coping mechanism. Like, I'm trying to have this positive mindset. I'm trying to feel very like at peace with it. I'm trying to find this way to make a shitty situation not shitty. And here my body is feeling like it's failing. I'm in excruciating pain.
Yeah.
My hormones have just plummeted. I'm having emotions that I don't even recognize. To have that experience, even if you're someone who was able to find peace with it or have that kind of mentality, is like, it's still traumatizing. Even that's just it. Having a miscarriage on your body, on your mind, everything, whether it's planned, not planned, any type of that situation is just, goddamn, is it hard?
Yeah.
And it's traumatizing. And whether it happened to your great grandma back when it was taboo and we didn't talk about it and they did it alone, that still was fucking hard. Whether it's now where we can talk about it openly and call our friends and talk about it, God, is it fucking hard. I'm glad we're at a place where we can talk about it, and we don't have to do this alone, and this isn't something that we have to be embarrassed about or hide about or feel.
But there is an internal shame that I think is it's normal for women to feel. It's a shame that like I carry of this, like just the what the fuck, why is this happening? And then the my want and need for control is really fighting with the and now it might happen again. It's likely that it would happen again. You're high risk now. Not only are you worried about ectopic pregnancies, and you're also worried about miscarrying. Just your normal miscarriage, your everyday miscarriage.
Yeah, I think, which is what
it's like mourning the loss of like being excited for getting pregnant. Like I thought that I was going to be that annoying bitch that got pregnant without trying and just had this like normal pregnancy,
which is what I think,
baby.
Which is why I think your mindset was easily so switched, is because you very much had that mindset going into this. It's like, if it happens, it happens. When you got pregnant, it was like, that wasn't expected, but I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And here we are, and this is just going to be, and we're going to accept it, and we're going to love it, and we're going to move forward. And that's that, which is a wonderful mindset to have. When telling you the other day when we were talking about why I felt so sad for you, because trying to navigate being pregnant in the future and having that tainted with trauma and having it tainted with like a negative experience and being scared, it takes away so much from being pregnant. And I think that's one of the hardest things I've dealt with. Even Eric is 4 years old and healthy, and having lost or having anything like that happen has created this very deep anxiety in me that at any time, which I think is a normal mother thing to think about, but the whole pregnancy with Eric, at anything that happened, any cramp, anything, it was immediately like, this, I can lose this baby and it can be taken away from me at any time. Every single ultrasound we went to, I was throwing up with anxiety beforehand. I would leave there shaking. I was just waiting. I was so prepared for any time to go in there to be like, there's no heartbeat. I was so prepared to walk in there.
But you weren't prepared. This is what I think is the lie. You aren't prepared. Like, not going all in, it does not mean you're prepared. It means that like your defense mechanism is
terrified to go in. I'll reword that. That's a good thing to say.
No, I think people
terrified.
say I think what you're saying is right. And that people say, like, I'm prepared, I'm ready, I know that anything bad can happen. But in reality, like, when the shitty thing happens, when you find out your baby's growing in your fallopian tube, I knew the risks. I knew what could happen. I knew going in there that I was probably having a miscarriage, an ectopic pregnancy, kidney stones, or a cyst. Those were my 4.
Hear them say this is what it is devastating.
Yeah.
I think it's good we should rephrase that. Not prepared. I was scared and on guard and ready for someone to tell me my worst fear.
Right.
That's what it was, is knowing that at any time this could be taken away.
Yeah.
But actually having Eric and still following, that's my biggest anxiety that I carry. And like I said, I'm sure some of it's normal. A lot of it's being a mom. You know that at any time, like, terrible things happen to people that is completely unfair. People lose children. I can't even sit in that headspace because it comes from a very deep, deep, deep-seated fear of loving something to that capacity and knowing that it could be taken away from you is something that...
But I said this in our episode, and I've said this to you many times, like, you've had a very significantly hard life. You have faced a lot of loss, trauma, abuse. I mean, you've gone through it.
Yeah.
And so I think you have the perspective, whether it's conscious or subconscious, that bad things happen. Bad things do happen. Bad things can happen. Bad things have happened. And they have happened to me. And so what makes me special to think that I could have an easy pregnancy, an easy, easy parenting, a child that is healthy, a child that lives.
Yeah.
You know, that you in the back of your mind, it's not, I don't think it's irrational why you think the way you do, because I know your story. I know what you've been through. Like, you lost your mom when you were 11 years old. I was with you for that. And although you don't have many memories from that time, you still logically know, like, that was a shitty thing that happened for no fucking reason.
Yeah, for sure. And I like to think, and that's just the way my brain works, I like to think, like, had I had a very healthy pregnancy the very first time, that maybe I would have had a lot more peace there. But no, I probably would have been very scared the entire time as well. Yeah. But I think going through, you know, an ectopic pregnancy at a very weird time in my life, a very, like, different version of me. And that's what we talked about that, you know, yesterday too, where we were talking about, like, what a bizarre thing to look back and look at the person you were and the way you handled those experiences. The way that I feel about them now that I have a child, looking back, the way that I can sit here with you in this grief and this loss and feel it very differently than maybe I would have even had I been going through this with you at the same time years ago. I think it's just like, well, because at that time in your life, like, you didn't want the pregnancy anyway. So of course, like, I mean, I think, although we think about pregnancy loss as, like, a main reason why people have anxiety, like, I met a woman who, it took her 4.5 years to get pregnant. She never had a miscarriage. She never got there
pregnant.
Was nothing wrong.
There was nothing, you know, her doctor said there's nothing wrong, that, you know, just take time. And, you know, eventually they got sick of waiting. So they tried IVF and it worked. It worked for them. And, you know, she's pregnant now, and she's still, like, because you hold on so tightly to this idea of, like, a baby and family and growing your family, that, like, even though she hasn't experienced loss, she had, in a way, of, like, every negative pregnancy test.
Yeah,
every negative, like, because I think you hold on to the ideal and the excitement, and that's what I feel the loss for. Like, of course I feel a loss and a sadness that, like, I'm not carrying anymore. Like, that was something that I actually, I mean, I was only pregnant for a week, and I obviously didn't have any major, like, I wasn't showing yet or anything, but, like, I really liked that I had a little thing with me that was part of me that I got to carry around into the world. Like, I thought that was really fun, and it was it really hit me hard when that was taken from me.
That's the problem. When you go through something like this, you are pregnant, and then just like that, within days, seconds, moments, you are not. Yeah. And not only is it hard for your brain to comprehend, but it's hard for your body to comprehend. Yeah. And well,
you said in our episode yesterday, I remember you saying this because I thought about it, you know, after. Because you said you were like, this was the first time that you had seen me actually sit in something so shitty.
Yeah, you know? This is the first time. And I think when I look at Rachel's life and my life, actually, like, I've lost, and yes, my mom passing away is a huge, huge thing. But being 11, that's like in my head, because of where I'm at now, 11 is a hard place for me to go back to and feel very, like, connected to. So there is which at some point we will have an episode about all that stuff that we're working through and like to go back and revisit traumas. But
not today.
Not today. Today we're going to talk about the fact that that's the only person I've ever lost.
Mm-hmm.
I have never lost a grandparent. I've never lost friends. I have no deaths in my family.
Yeah.
My grandparents are healthy. My parents are healthy. My sister's healthy. Everybody is really healthy. And this is not the losses that I experienced with miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies. They are very singular to me. And I felt them a little differently.
Yeah, because they were very personal.
They were very personal.
You almost feel like you grieve alone.
Yes.
I think that is a unique thing of like, although like I very much feel like I'm grieving with Josh, I feel like a lot of women might not have partners that are like as invested at the beginning. Not women, people with uteruses. Sorry. Please forgive me for my language. But a lot of pregnant people, when they miscarry, it's so easy to feel alone.
Oh, yes.
And because one, you're alone in your pain, like physically. You're alone in your hormones. Like, but when I was saying like you saw me like fully feel.
Yeah, and we're not super emotional people. We know that we feel sad or that we think we're sad or we can very much empathize with people, but I'm not a super emotional person at the surface, and neither is Rachel. Rachel's not a super like we don't want to feel that if it's not beneficial.
we try to
logical.
rationalize
That's just the kind of thing that we do. So to see my best friend go through this and experience a loss on another level where logic is not part of it, where you weren't able to find a silver lining. You weren't able to go, this is meant to be, this is fine. You weren't able to do that because this is a completely different level of loss and grief. And to watch that outside of my body from someone who's had those experiences, to see you for the first time be so sad, to sit in grief and feel your feelings was hard to watch, but also a very, very, very wonderful thing to witness you go through with your partner. I have so much respect for Josh, that he's created a space for you where you were able to just be sad and grieve and feel whatever feelings came to you, whether it was physical or mental. That's not something you've ever experienced before, and that's not something I've ever watched you go through. I'm not sure that I've ever seen anybody. I've never sat alongside somebody who's feeling something like this, so it's been a very it's been a hard thing to watch and a really interesting thing to be part of.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the last gift. Am I gonna cry?
You might.
No. Like the last gift that like my pregnancy gave me was the ability to feel through that, because like, I mean, yes, it's a drop in hormones. Yes, it's all of that. And I was emotional for 3 weeks, like 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant. You know, I was crying at anything and everything. And truly the last gift that I think I was given was like the ability to like fully feel. And I think that's a hard thing of like, when I talk about how like I'm not emotional or whatever, it's like, it's not like a badge of honor that I wear. No. It's just like, I find it very hard to get sad. Like I find it very difficult. It's not like I get sad and I'm like, no. It's like, I find it really hard. You don't quite
go there. Yeah. You just don't go there. And it's almost like there are things in this lifetime that are sad, but then there are things in this lifetime that are grief beyond control. And it's a different space to sit in. And I'm someone who went through, you know, child loss or a pregnancy loss and didn't have that space to feel what you felt.
Feeling safe. I think that's the thing.
And I struggle with the word safe. I for some reason, that's one of my hardest things to like say is like, I felt safe. It's like, of course I was safe. Like nothing was actually wrong, but to have the space to be vulnerable and not feel these really hard outside emotions was not something that I was in a place to do with the person that I was with. So getting to watch you, which is something I think we talked about yesterday, I got to come over it was the day after it happened. I was really scared to come over. One, I think because this is something that I didn't realize was going to like trigger me.
Yeah.
To watch my friend go through something super hard. This is the first time I've watched a friend go through something like this. So that really put me in a, we're not trying to make this about me, but it put me in a really, made me really upset and really sad. And then to see how Josh was with you and to know that all he did was just be present and just be there. And it wasn't a big ask. I got in my car when I left and I was just like, what the hell? Like, to see that happen and go, I did not get that. Which is why my miscarriage bothered me, not while it was happening, but once I had Eric is when those things bothered me because I had a different perspective of what that meant.
Yeah.
And when I say this, my parents didn't even know I had a miscarriage right before Eric. I didn't share that with anybody. I think 2 people knew.
Yeah.
I kept that super, super private because I just knew, this is where my anxiety comes in. I had this deep premonition that something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help my magic thinking mind when the things follow through. So I experienced that, didn't tell my parents, didn't include anybody in that thing other than one person. I think it was my friend Erin, and I think we ended up telling maybe John's sister. I don't even tell my sister. And it's because I felt so goddamn embarrassed to be going through that or to experience what that was, and ended up when I was actually miscarrying. So I don't know if we talked about that. I had something called a missed miscarriage.
I think we did talk about it.
Which means that my body did not recognize that it was no longer alive. Yeah. So I just was holding on to that. My hormone levels were still rising. My body quite literally didn't recognize that it was no longer alive. So I had to take, which is what they call the abortion pill, to cause my body to force it into a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most painful things I've ever been through, not even emotionally, very physically, to not have a place where I felt like the person I was with had any empathy or understanding, to the point where I got so uncomfortable that I called a girlfriend to take me to the hospital because I was embarrassed to be in pain like that in front of.
And let that be truly, let that be a red flag, because I know you are uncomfortable with the term safe, right? But you weren't safe in that moment to feel everything you were feeling. You weren't safe to express it. You weren't safe. And I understand what you mean. Like, I wasn't abused. I wasn't being hurt, but you weren't being heard. You weren't being, you weren't being valued.
Basic lack of human empathy and care for what I was going through.
For you.
And for me. Well,
like Josh, that's the thing. Like, if anything that I've taken from this horrible fucking experience, it's that, like, Josh is ready to be a husband. And I think that was something that I worried about.
I think we all doubted that a little bit.
Yeah. Like, why do you want to be a husband? Why? But, like, he really showed in the time that I needed him the most that, like, he is beyond capable of loving me through the hard things and being with me on the hard things. Because that's something I really worried about, is that, like, Josh has a lot of anxiety and a lot of, like, he can get kind of irrational and
to pull away from you,
to pull away from me
that.
And make it about him. And I've been open with him about that forever, and I got to see him, like, follow through in a way that, like, I mean,
you can't see that unless it happens, and to be able to go through that and see the kind of person he's going to be, the kind of husband he's going to be, the kind of father he's going to be, all that kind of stuff is just like, what a breath of fresh air to have actually,
and that probably,
under these circumstances fucking sucks, but what a nice thing to get to experience with him. And then to also watch Josh, like, as a friend of Josh is, like, people who don't know Josh, he is hilarious, constantly funny, everything is lighthearted, nothing is super serious. To watch Josh also be able to step away, grieve on his own, and feel his feelings while also being able to be there and be present for yours, and then to be able to come together and lean on each other with the similarity and the common denominator there was that you guys both lost, that you both felt that. It wasn't like you lost a baby and he was like you know,
I don't know how to help you.
Yeah, I don't know how to help you, which is, you know, I have a friend who just went through something very similar.
Yeah.
And her partner said, I'm not going to stay here all day. I'm not the one that's in pain. Or, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't do anything for you. Yeah. It's like, what a simple, and I think just like being on the other side of this and being able to like talk about that is just like, you just had no idea that that was such a simple ask. And to watch that as your best friend, and Jess said yesterday, to be able to watch our best friend be supported by someone is just, what a wonderful thing to watch. And it's like a super inspirational thing, and a breath of fresh air to people like me that have been through a relationship in the past that I didn't have that. Yeah. Which is why I'm where I'm at now. But to know that there is such a thing, and that it is very possible, and that to have that kind of standard is something, and to go through things like this isn't something that you have to do alone. Yeah.
And I hope that like, if you, I mean, it's not like, I hope that not everybody listening has gone through this, but if you have gone through this experience, if you have lost a pregnancy and you have seen your partner's true colors through it, I know psychologically, and Madison can attest to this too, the like want or need to get pregnant right away again. I mean, it's chemical, and it's this anxiety.
It is a panic. We talked about that. I think before I had ever miscarried, before I had ever experienced any of this, and this is just another thing. Remember, unless you've been through it, you don't have a goddamn clue. So I think just being kind to people who you're quick to judge about the way that they're handling things is just another, this is always just a quick check to be like, you don't know how you'd handle something like that. Right. I used to get really upset with the people who would have miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. And I'm like, what is it?
You take a break. Chill out.
The obsession with wanting to get pregnant, the obsession that, you know, like whatever that was, it used to be something that I just was like, why would you want to go through that over and over again? And then I had a miscarriage. And the second that happened, and the second I had anything come over me that reality that I experienced for just a second, which you know, just a second, that reality of a family, of being a mother, of having a life inside your body, that whole entire concept, the idea that might not never be possible was like,
and you just have to prove it to yourself as quick as possible.
No. I mean, I was 24 when I got pregnant with Eric, and that's too young. I was too young. I was not married. I was not in a relationship where I had even seen the true colors of that. Yeah. I was in no place.
I think you saw him, but you said,
but I was in no place.
Sunglasses, colorblind,
rose-colored glasses. Baby. Yeah. I was in no place to be making the decision to go full speed ahead and be like, I'm going to get pregnant right now. Yeah. And I would blow it off and that's the thing, is I was just like, we're not really trying, but we're trying. And it's going to be hard for me to get pregnant. And it didn't matter who the hell it was with. Yeah. It was completely personal. Right. It was like, I want to be a mother right now. Yeah. I want to be pregnant. I want to make sure that I can obtain this. I like, maybe this is going to happen 5 other times, but I don't give a fuck. I want to get there. I want to get there now, and I want to have it, and I want to hold it, and I want to be able to say that I am a mom and I'm pregnant. And it became just like a complete obsession. And I got pregnant. Yeah. With someone that I shouldn't have gotten pregnant with. Right. I love Eric. I'm so thankful he's here. I would not change a single thing about that, what I get to experience with him, to be his mom and to be here today is just, you know, I'm thankful for that, and I don't ever,
you know, he's almost 4.
I don't have to rationalize it. I am so happy I have him, but the want and the need to be pregnant immediately is such strong, and it's chemical, and it's a depression. It is a level of depression and anxiety that hits you. And the one thing I told Rachel, and she said that, she was like, I feel like, she said this to me the other day when we were sitting at her desk, I feel like we don't have the luxury of time anymore. Yeah. It was an immediate fear that I don't get, because Rachel, I don't know if you've known this, Rachel is a planner. Rachel likes to have control over things about her life that are super important, and she does lots of things very intentionally, which is very admirable. Thanks. You know, she was like, we want to be married for a year. We want to enjoy our marriage. We want to love each other. We want to get to explore the world. We want to do these things. And that's something that she was very passionate about. And then to have that dream halted in its tracks, to have to switch everything over to just kidding. That life that I planned is now gone and I have to accept this one. So we've accepted this. We're going to be excited. We're going to be in love and we're going to make it happen right now. To then, just kidding, smack in the face again. No.
Yeah. And I think what it is, if I were to just be like, I think what I feel is if I were to just go back to plan A, right? Okay. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't meant to be. Our time will come, blah, blah, blah. Then I would be lying to myself about how badly I fucking wanted plan B. I didn't know plan B was a thing. And if I just say like, okay, well, now we will wait a year. Now we will go travel. It's hard to say. But what I was trying to say earlier was, if you have been going through pregnancy loss and you are with someone that hasn't been supportive, that isn't on the same page, that you don't feel safe with, that you can't break down with, they are not the partner you should be raising a child with.
100%.
Because they have shown you the kind of partner they are. If they are not your partner in grief, they cannot be your partner in life, because grief hits you at any fucking time. And it is, I mean, I've never been more ready to marry Josh ever in my life. I want to marry him right now. We can go downstairs and we can get married. Like, I feel so overwhelmed with it's really just the realization that like, we've got it. We've got what it takes to do hard things together. Yeah. And thank God, like truly, like I mean,
thank God.
that I have that peace going into my marriage. And then
now you get to know exactly what, like, because I think when you try and premeditate what family and kids and all that looks like, you don't really know. You don't really have a good idea, but you got a glimpse of what it actually did look like, and now you know that he is going to be supportive, and you know that. Right. So I think when you were thinking of your timeline before, of like this year together, was so that we can learn if we can do this, so that we can learn if you're someone I want kids with, so if we can learn these things. And so now that you've seen it and you know that it's a reality, the idea of wanting kids is no longer a distant daydream. It is something that you want whenever it happens. But what I was saying right before that is the one piece of advice that I have for people, and this is it, is to give yourself time, whether that's a month of true feeling, taking care of your body and your mind before you try and get pregnant again. Obviously some people don't have control over that. They get pregnant right away just because it happens, and that's awesome. But as a friend to talking to Rachel in this circumstance is something that's, take care of your body, feel your feelings, grief, be able to be friends with your grief, because when you get pregnant again, this grief will come up. Yeah. And you want to be able to welcome it and say hi to it and sit with it and feel it, and then be able to move on, not get into a place of trying to run from it and fix your mind and fix your body and fix what just happened. And you want to be able to go, wow, this really hurts. That was a loss. And this is beautiful and great. And we're here and we're at this point, but that was a loss. And I'm going to grieve that. And if it comes, you are in a place to be able to feel it and actually feel it and not run from it or try and fill it. And unfortunately for me, I filled a void. Immediately did I fill a void. I was running after a void. And that spiraled into an entire marriage of filling voids. It spiraled into, I now have a kid and it's still not enough. I now have a husband and it's still not enough. And now I have a house and it's still not enough. And now I have all these things, and I'm just running away from this, any type of old pain or any grief or any loss or anything that could upset my internal balance is something that you do. And this is just something that, as your friend and to people that are going through this, get comfortable feeling your feelings. I
think if you aren't willing to honor your grief, you're dismissing a huge part of who you are. Yeah. You're dismissing a huge part of your story. Of course, nobody wants to sit in sadness forever. But when you lose a pregnancy or a parent or a sibling or a grandparent,
or a friend or a pet,
yes,
I mean, anything,
like
God, anything.
That gets to be a part of the fabric of who you are, because it affects everything that's important to you. And denying yourself that pain is just doing you a disservice.
It comes back. It'll always come.
Yeah.
It's always chasing you. It's always going to show up. It's always going to come full circle and come back to say, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I never left.
It's never leaving. And until you... Like I said, I always say befriend it, be friends, and be okay with welcoming it in when it comes and hits you. I mean, I've had some of the weirdest, raising Eric, some of the weirdest things just
Waves.
Out of nowhere, things that have, you know, maybe it was the pregnancy loss, or seeing you go through this, or seeing a friend go through this, or things like that, where I thought, I'm totally fine with this. I mean, that's something that
I made my
peace with that. And it's like, no, you didn't. You never felt that. And so when you get to see things through other friends or people, it smacks you in the face, and then you feel that, and then you don't know how to handle it because you've never handled it and you don't know what to do with it. Yeah. Be friends with grief.
Okay, guys, that was, I mean, a heavy one.
That was a heavy one. I didn't even think about that yesterday. I think this is like, this sucks that we have to do this again but I also got a little time to think about what that actually meant to talk about. And sometimes, you know, I sat on the couch last night and just hung out for a minute and thought about the things that maybe we didn't talk about yesterday, or the things that I left here feeling that maybe I didn't even know that I felt. So that's something that I feel really strongly. And it is heavy. It is heavy to even think about. Loss in general is heavy. It's just a really heavy thing, whether that's, I mean, it doesn't matter what that looks like to the person that's experiencing it, but it is hard to navigate. And I just, through this that's just my final thing. God, sign up for someone who's going to be there to support your grief.
Yeah.
Just be someone and be in a partnership with someone who's going to support you, so that you can grieve. Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize the importance of that as a young 20-year-old, and you know, I'm only 28, but the difference in the things that I expect and the things that I know from 24 to 28 is it feels like a world away. It feels like many moons ago.
Many moons. Yeah. We've both had, I mean, our lives. I mean, we came back into like our deep friendship 4 years ago, then was it like right before you had Eric? Yeah, a little bit.
Like we're encroaching on like 4.5 years. I think, where we even started to actually become
and
friends again.
It's wild to think about the people we were at those points in time, and I say this all the time that, like, I mean, I truly believe, no matter what. How I stand religiously, that like your mom has played a huge role like spiritually in us being back together.
It's a common,
because we literally, like, we came back into each other's lives when we needed it. And it's a friendship that, like, when Madison's mom died, we didn't know how to sit. We were too young. We didn't know how to sit in the grief with each other, because I was outraged that her life was like flipped on its head and that her dad was letting it happen. I was so pissed. And you were just like, I have to accept it. And I think throughout middle school and high school, we would like hang out and like smoke cigarettes
we quite literally
together.
Would skip math class together. Miss Larkin's class. Sorry, Miss Larkin. Yeah. We would skip math class, go eat Taco Bell, smoke a cigarette together, and not talk. We did not speak to each other. It was a very weird. It was one of the weirdest things in the world, and to both, you know, come back into each other's lives right as our lives were about to again change drastically and just flip upside down. Is a blessing. Yeah, I'm gonna use the blessing word. It is a blessing. And the thing for me and the thing for you is, I mean, my life from the point my mom passed away up is very, like I said, I feel, you know, there have been lots of things that are good and lots of things that are bad, but you are the only person in my life at all that knew my mother. I have no other friends who knew my mom. All my other friends came from 6th grade up, where nobody knew her. I mean, obviously, they know of her in some way, but nobody knew her. Nobody has the backstory of that, and nobody was to have a friend that experienced probably one of the hardest things you've ever gone through alongside of you, and then to be here in the present and just have them know what you're experiencing instead of having to talk about it or try and fill in the gaps has been pretty wonderful, especially being someone who doesn't have I couldn't tell you what I experienced at that age. I have no memory. I'm wiped.
#trauma.
I'm wiped. I have a very clear memory from 6th grade up. Everything before that is very it is not there.
I just knew, and I think it's interesting, like all of this stuff is coming out right before Mother's Day, and so like we want to say like we see you, we know you, but your mom had showed me motherhood, right? Like I had my mother, and she was wonderful, and our moms were similar in a lot of ways. They went all out for the birthday parties. They were the Girl Scout moms,
goofy,
but the authenticity that your mom brought to motherhood was so admirable. That the fact that like I remember this, like I was 10 years old and I remember how authentically your mom loved you, and that meant imperfectly. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, for sure.
Your mom was
a shit show. A shit show. 100%.
But she loved you and Liv so much. Like I just know, like I just remember like feeling like, oh my God, like she loves this thing. Like
she's why I wanted to be a mom.
She loves being a mom.
Which, like I said, I've always wanted to be a mom, but like knowing that there are moms who are that, which all moms do their goddamn best, so that's not even. But my mom specifically is someone who like those are the only memories I have, and maybe they're from pictures or whatever. But being just completely immersed in motherhood and being just like, it's something I haven't even had down yet. Like being okay with the house being just a shit show, and being okay with all these things being a mess, but being so like present and being goofy and fun and crafts. And
you don't listen to Jackson 5 enough when you clean. I think maybe that's the
problem. Yeah, good like neuroses.
That's what we need when you clean. Jackson 5 all the
Thanks,
time.
Erica Sharp, for my inability to clean my house, because it didn't come from my dad and my stepmom. They had me in check, and I said, no, it's deep within my bones. Deep in my bones.
No. And like you don't have a good enough pair of overalls either.
I don't.
Like you need the mom overalls. We need the Jackson 5.
There's a something going, but that is a cool thing to have, that you know that about me, and that I know that about you, and that we have that background to where, now I am a mother and you're going to be a mother, and we get to go through these really hard things together and get to the point where we get to be those kids again, where we get to raise our, we get to raise our kids together. And I don't, I have a friend, Taylor, that has got kiddos, but
I can't say that I will let my 10-year-old daughter with blossoming boobs run around shirtless.
I didn't have blossoming. I know, but
I did. And your mom would be like, Rach, you're just a kid. It doesn't matter. And I was like, okay. And my mom was Rachel, what the fuck? Like my mom would be horrified. But I was just like, we're just walking around. We're just shirtless in the backyard. I was already in a training bra, so it was inappropriate.
Oh, Rachel started her period in 4th grade, and I was like, I don't know what that is. No. I have mosquito bite nipples and flat chest, and I'm good.
And she just would run around with no shirt.
I was always naked.
Like at 10 years old. That's the 5th grade.
It's an age.
That is
I know
old.
It's like an adult, like my niece and nephew are at this age, and I'm like, what a weird what a weird age.
And I'm just trying to hang with Madison, like, oh, I could be shirtless. I'm not. I don't have tits. No. I didn't go to Walmart. I mean, one of my formative memories is shopping for my first training bra, because honestly, it must have felt so embarrassing. I'll never forget what it looked like. I was at Walmart with my mom.
No, didn't experience that. I didn't get boobs until like sophomore year high school.
Well, my boobs have stayed the same size, so
no, not mine.
Win some, lose some. But
all right, wrap ups.
Wrap up. Glad we got to bring up Erica. Rest in peace, Queen. thanks for coming on, Madison, talking about your trauma twice. And
thanks for talking about your trauma twice.
Yeah.
All week long. That's another thing that fucking sucks. Do you know how many times you have to explain this thing to people?
Oh my God.
For the next couple months, it's just going to be like, I got to tell this again.
Yeah.
I got to do this again.
Well, you see, I was
Long
pregnant, and then
story
I'm
short.
not pregnant, and then I had emergency surgery, and I almost died, and it's like
You're going to get to the point where you're like, I had a growth.
I had a growth.
I had a growth. It fucked me up.
Yeah.
Here I am. we have gone array.
Yeah. What happened to you?
Yeah.
How much time do you have? What version would you like? But yeah.
What version would you like?
But happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's
Day.
To the mothers who are not mothers yet, to the mothers that are mothers, to babies that have not made it, to the mothers that have are trying to be.
Yeah. To any woman
to
or
any
person
woman.
that plays a motherly role to children in their lives.
Yeah.
We see you. We love you. And we'll be back next week. Not Madison. Sorry. Madison's like, don't ask me to do this again.
Not give me next time, give me some more heads up.
Okay.
It's like a casual Monday. And she's like, oh, by the way, tomorrow. It's
Okay.
like, oh, yep, here I am.
All right. I'm Rach.
I'm Madison.
And we out.